we have very eminent speakers who are from different fields. Somebody is a doctor, as you just heard. He's a psychiatrist. He leads the National Forum. And I will have to ask him from where he's coming, because he's been traveling, so I don't know which was his last venue. So, Dr. Saab, from which place are you coming here today?
Very much from Delhi.
Okay.
It's just that we conduct this quiz for schools across India. So we were in the middle of zonal finals, so city hopping. Started from Kolkata, took 6 cities, and now here and back to Delhi tomorrow.
We are really happy to have you here. There are 3 eminent speakers with us today who have written wonderful novels to express their emotions on a single topic which has been perceived in different ways, and that is mental health. Well, friends, myself, I'm Geeta Rao, a resident of Nagpur, a pure Nagpurian, proud to be. I'm very thankful to OCLF for having me here as a moderator for this particular session, because this is concerned with each and every soul present here and outside. It is something which is not outside. It is something which is so within us, but still everybody is trying to see it. And that is why we are here to discuss about it. I'm a textile designer by profession, and of late, since past 15 years, I'm into motivational speaking. I go to schools, I take life skill sessions, and today the topic is, it is not time management, it is not something regarding to communication skills, it is mental health. So I will request our speakers here to kindly throw their opinion about this particular topic today, the mysterious shadow of mental health. It is only after that we hear from them that I will request the guests, in case if they have any questions, they can pass it on to me, or else if we have some time, we can allow you to also ask. But let us hear it out from them as to what they perceive out of this particular topic. I will request them to take about 2.5 to 3 minutes to speak about it. And later on, we will be having some questions definitely, which could be answered in another 5 minutes, which will be allotted. So I would like to begin with Dr. Parikh. Sir, over to you.
So mental health is neither mysterious nor a shadow, right? And therein lies the concern. It's perceived as mysterious because we haven't been aware enough. But it's a science. So if you are asked why is diabetes caused, you will say it's something to do with insulin. Uske baad nobody knows anything, right? If you're asked, now you'll probably be able to say kya depression kyun hota hai. You'll end up saying that depression happens because probably serotonin chemical locha, thanks to the portrayal. But uske baad we don't know. Mental health is neither mysterious nor a shadow. And I say that because it's become mysterious because of the way we approached it. In a hush manner, avoiding talking about it, letting the stigma, the prejudice, the discrimination, the stereotypy color our perceptions, our thought processes, our cognitions about mental health. That's why the portrayal that has happened over the past several years, several decades, now becoming a bit better. So whether portraying it in form of humor, showing mentally ill patients as there is humor, so it takes sensitivity away. Using mental health or mental illnesses to show crime or psychopathy, it instills fear. Either ways, it takes away empathy, responsibility, help-seeking behavior. Look at statistics, and that's why I say it's not a shadow. In fact, it's a herd of elephants in this room. Whether you see it or not is up to you, but it lies in right here. 1 in 6 years lived in disability across the world are because of a mental ailment. Right? 1 in 6 years. Depression alone as an illness, amongst the single largest illnesses in the world, over 280 million people in the world suffer from depression. Nearly 1 billion people are suffering from mental ailments. By 2030, the cost of mental ailments alone will cross $6 trillion. Right now, it's about $3 trillion a year. 15% of working adults at a given moment in time will have a mental ailment. These are all WHO 2022 data for you. And 25% increase in depression and anxiety alone as illnesses just during the pandemic that happened. So when we look at this, what are we saying here? We've denied the existence of something that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You don't see oxygen, that doesn't mean that you think it's not there. It is very much there. So issue with mental health has been that it's that lots of elephants in the room which we refuse to see. And that's why the whole mystery and the shadow and all the stigma happens. So what happens is, even today, in spite of so many conversations on mental health, 75% of people who need to talk to an expert, and here when I say expert, I'm talking about your general physician also. The solution to mental health is not with mental health experts. It's not possible. Deficit is huge. So if you compare low-income countries to high-income countries, the deficit is 1 to 2 per lakh to 70 per lakh. We are at 1 to 2 per lakh. We are not a solution. Solution is what all of us can do, right? And where does it start? It starts with awareness, sensitization, sensitivity, psychological first aid, enhancing help-seeking behavior, and the conversations of mental health with a sense of dignity and responsibility. There is no place for trolls. There is no place for factually incorrect and insensitive communication, conversation, or information when it comes to the context of mental health. That has to be the one point approach to all conversations of mental health.
Totally agree with you, doctor. Totally agree with you that in fact there is no conclusion to mental health issues. It is a reoccurring phenomena and has to be dealt in with every day. So I will certainly come back to you on this. Would request now Sujata ji to please throw some light on your views on this topic, the mysterious shadow. Do you really feel it's a shadow, or what is so mysterious about it?
Hello, everyone. When I say shadow or mystery, more than that, first I would like to, I would like to say that I'm very happy to see so many young people over here, because that is where it is affecting the most. And there are reasons for it, like because of the weakening family bonds, the nuclear family systems, the support systems are not there anymore. And this whole explosion of social media, of information, of ambition, things to do, you have to do something, you have to be cool in your life. All these pressures, plus you have to have the in things, you have to get all the cool gadgets, and you have to have a kind of an income to support that. All these things together, and the disinformation campaign which is there everywhere, as doctor was saying, all these things together has a big impact on the young people today. So that is what I'm most happy about, that you are here. This is a topic we need to discuss. And as for the shadow and mystery, mental health always has stayed in wraps, especially in all societies, especially in Indian society, because it is considered to be, अरे ये तो मतलब family में ढक के रखो, इसके ऊपर बात नहीं करेंगे, because फिर लोग क्या बोलेंगे. Even now, this has happened. Even in today's educated world, this thing is still there. People don't come forward. We have an issue, we need help. And that has to change. And it's you young people who have to change this attitude slowly. So get help for someone who's older in your family, or someone who needs help. Get help yourself. But come, talk about it. Right now, that's all I want to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. In fact, your insight is regarding the mental health of the youngsters more today, because I think I can correlate it to the feeling which each, or rather most of us as parents have, that we are unable to stop our children from using mobile phones. अरे उसको ज़्यादा मत डांटो, suicide कर लेगा. You know? So basically, I don't know whether it's a mental health problem for the parents or for the child, but it is there, and we are all under that shadow. Probably our speakers will help us out to understand that better in the questions which I ask later. As of now, I would request Dr. Harshali to kindly express her views on the topic.
So I know this is a very serious topic for an afternoon. I don't know if you've all had lunch or not, but it's a very pertinent one. It's a very pertinent topic because we're all under the shadow of the fact that we all have issues in our life. I don't think इस कमरे में कोई भी ऐसा है जो कह सकता है कि I am perfectly happy. And where is this unhappiness stemming from? That there is something in our lives that we want to change, that we observe in our family, in our loved ones, that we feel is not communicated. So for me, when I think of this word mental health, the first thing that comes to my mind is communication. The lack of it and why we are unable to discuss it more openly, as has been spoken about so eloquently by the other panelists and by everyone else. And so for me, I think mental health is still very far away from being discussed the way it should be. It is still very far away from being taken into account when we talk about stress management, when we talk about things in the workplace, things in the family which are going wrong. Things are improving, I will not deny. People are talking about it. Youngsters are talking about it, know about it. They don't want to hide behind a curtain of, ghar ki baat ghar mein rehne do, don't take it out, that kind of a thing. Parents are willing to discuss it. Maybe we still need more communication when it comes to finding the right professionals to help. Now what happens is, एक dialogue बनाया कि talk to your friend, or we give advice, and especially in our culture, advice देना बहुत आसान है. That अरे are you not feeling well? कई बार तो हम बोलते भी नहीं हैं. Sometimes we just see someone, we know that this person is not right, especially I'm talking about the youngsters or the ladies or the gentlemen also, in fact. We know there's something off, but we don't address it because we have been told that don't talk about this. There are certain gender roles that have been defined that, a man should be a man, or a woman should suffer silently, or children should not talk about certain things. These are adult things. Aap inke bare mein mat discussion karo. So those kind of things that we have grown up with have conditioned us. We assume that it is okay to keep silent. So when I think of mental health, the first word that flashes in my mind is actually communication, and the fact that we want to be open about it much more than what we are today. So yes, we are working towards it, but हमारी pace बहुत slow है. I think as parents, as students, as children, as a partner of a loved one, we need to step up the game. We need to speed up and think that if I don't talk, अगर मुझे दिख रहा है कि my friend is not, there is some change, there is a sudden change in her or his behavior, I should ask. Uncomfortable questions we don't ask because we feel कि how do I react to this? अगर उन्होंने सच्ची में मुझ में, if they confide in me, will I be able to discuss it? Will I have the skills to be able to talk about it? So I think from my end I would say that communication, confrontation, and the fact that you want to consume or internalize the fact that it's not an illness. It is something that can be helped. You can help someone. So
Very
that's
true. Very true. In fact, Dr. Harshali, I think now we are on the same page, and we have a very prominent personality with us sitting here who can actually explain this as to why is this hesitation in communication? Why is this hesitation in telling something about what you feel, whether you are nervous, whether you are feeling unstable, and always posing to be a hero. So I think doctor will be in a better position to tell us that is it still a taboo or a stigma to have any sort of a weakness? And
I don't think it's merely about. I don't see gender as an issue here, to be honest. B, I don't see it's whether a person is trying to be a hero or otherwise. People not talking about their problems is based upon primarily of not being sure about the nature of feedback they will get. Let's take an example of a workplace. You're a 28, 29-year-old. If you are having migraine, you don't go to work for 3 days. You'll go with a neurology certificate, rest for 3 days. You won't hesitate. Your supervisor would probably show a lot of concern. What are the odds that you will go and say, I had depression and my psychiatrist gave me meds and my psychologist gave me sessions and I have been asked to take leave for 5 days? Now, if this employer and employee struggle to accept this fact and they treat this as different as compared to any other physical aspect, that's where stigma comes. That's where people start feeling being discriminated against. And like I mentioned earlier, 75% of people, even today, do not talk about their mental health concerns primarily because of the nature of feedback they are anticipating. And the other aspect is something that I have been talking about a lot, and is psychological first aid, like what I was talking about, psychological first aid. So let's say somebody comes and talks to you. हम फिजिकल फर्स्ट एड सीखते हैं, ACLS BCLS की बात करते हैं, ये सब हम बात करते हैं. बट व्हाट आर द ऑड्स दैट आप एक साल में कितनी बार ACLS BCLS CPR फर्स्ट एड कितनी बार यूज़ करोगे आप? सीखना चाहिए, ज़रूरी है, सबको सीखना चाहिए, लाइफ सेविंग है. आई एम नॉट डाइल्यूटिंग द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ दिस, बट लेट्स लुक एट द अदर साइड. आपको सिर्फ हफ्ते में कितनी बार फ्रेंड, फैमिली, कॉलीग कोई ना कोई आके बोलते हैं कोई ऐसी चीज़, यार ये बुरा लग रहा है, ये टेंशन हो गई, ये स्ट्रेस आ रहा है, काम का प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है, रिलेशनशिप का इशू आ रहा है, ब्रेकअप हो रहा है, नींद नहीं आ रहा है, ये वाला टेंशन हो रहा है. हाउ मेनी टाइम पीपल वुड टॉक टू यू? अ लॉट मैनी मोर टाइम्स. You are learning physical first aid but not psychological first aid. Look, listen, link. Look माने पहचानने का कैसे कि somebody is having a problem. दूसरा, listen. आप कैसे बात करोगे? Non-judgmental, non-opinionated, non-critical, non-hostile, non-blaming, empathetic तरह से. And third, link to a solution. Solution doesn't mean कि डॉक्टर के पास जाओ. लिंक टू अ सोल्यूशन इज जाओ टीचर से बात कर लो अगर पढ़ाई में प्रॉब्लम आ रही है. लिंक टू अ सोल्यूशन मीन्स जाओ अपने घर पे किसी से बात करो. लिंक बीन जाओ जीपी से बात करो. लिंक बीन या साइकोलॉजिस्ट से बात करो, हेल्पलाइन फ़ोन करो, बॉस से बात करो, या ये तुम्हारी हेल्प कर देते हैं. लिंक टू अ सोल्यूशन. और जब तक सोल्यूशन आए, स्टे विद दैट पर्सन, which will take a few days to a few weeks to a few months, be the support system. This is called psychological first aid. And this is not something that we can't learn. You read a little bit about it. I believe all workplaces should have psychological first aid training. All schools should have them as well. Society has a role to play. Like I said, mental health ka solution is not experts. Experts can solve a little bit of a mental health problem. The larger problem is at all of our levels, which is our level of compassion, responsibility, and empathy.
you mean to say, does moral science play an important role in this?
I fundamentally believe that moral science, value education should be an integral part of our school system, but I also believe that mental health curriculum should be a part of school system also, and media literacy should also be a part of it. We've all talked about social media in different ways. Social media is there. There's no point criticizing it. Mobile phones are there. There's no point talking about phone dena nahi dena hai. Phone to gaya. Right? Phone bhi gaya. That's over. Now the question is, how do I train this 7, 8, 9, 10, 12-year-old? How do I empower them to be able to filter their interface with the media, that the negative impact is minimized and the positive can be utilized the maximum? That's the only way to look at it. And that has to be our approach. We need to have this problem solving approach. There is no other way to look at it.
I agree. In fact, pandemic also has a great role to play in it. There was a time when parents were against their children using mobiles, and pandemic made it so mandatory for each and every child to use it, because they were only online classes and the child had to go online to read his lessons. So that is one thing, like he was exposed to media. I mean, even the ones who were not using it uh, had to use it, and that is how brought in more acceptance
Just
in
see,
parents.
when we say media, just try and understand what media is. You see this logo? You see that logo? That's also media, right? You see one of us wearing something, something's written on it, that's also media. You're crossing a red light, you see a kiosk, that's also media. You're watching a website, a pop-up ad comes, is media. Somebody's logo coming, that's media. You are watching a cricket match, an advertisement coming, that's also media, right? You are being told to put, very subtle way, an ad around gaming ads, that's also media. All of that is media. It's not merely films or books. So most of us are exposed to more than 10,000 messages by media on an average day, irrespective mobile phones or not. So all of that is media. At different levels, vectors are being thrown at you by media, one way or the other. And that's why media literacy is core to modern day education.
Well, going ahead with what you explain as media, that is of course the fact. But I would also like to ask you something regarding as to how would you deal with it. You are exposed to the media, you are exposed to the society, you are exposed to so many things which previously in previous days people were not. So how do you overcome, or rather how do you handle the situation? Is it only because every time it is not easy to communicate or
No,
tell?
so see it like this. So when I talk about media literacy, try and understand this from the point of view of what media literacy is, right? I'll give you a very brief example, and please carry on with this. But when we do training around media literacy, we work with very young people also. So for example, why am I seeing this message? What is this message saying? Is the message completely true, partly true, completely incorrect? Should I refer to what has been shown to me with some other collaborative information also? Is the source from where this is coming reliable? Is the expert's name being mentioned reliable? Is this forcing me a stereotype? Is this message forcing me a life choice or a lifestyle decision? For example, people say binge-worthy show. How can there anything be binge-worthy? Binge is not a positive thing. If you say there are 7 episodes in a show and somebody is doing a promotion, oh, this is a binge-worthy show, that's nonsense. There are 7 episodes of 40 minutes each, 30 minutes each, fine. How do you watch for 3.5 hours now? So see it like this, right? Media literacy has certain steps. It's trainable. Worldwide, there are media literacy happening. And it's time that we also absorb this, but this is not just for children. Adults also need to go through it. हमको भी समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है कि अपने भी फॉरवर्ड करने से पहले सोचें. अभी WHO ने कैंपेन किया था ना, पॉज करो फॉरवर्ड करने से पहले.
But sir, you will have to agree that it's easier said than done. So, taking your thought ahead,
Okay, now I would like to ask everyone present over here. आपकी मम्मी या डैडी आपको कहते हैं कि बहुत अच्छे दिख रहे हो आज, ओके, फैंटास्टिक शर्ट, या बहुत अच्छे दिख रहे हो. वो एक जगह, वो इमोशन एक जगह, और आपने वो फोटोग्राफ पोस्ट किया सोशल मीडिया पे और 100 लाइक्स आए. विच इज़ मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट टू यू? बी ऑनेस्ट. Social media, right? That is why, that is what social media is doing to us. We know, हमारे दिल में हमको पता है कि आई वडिलांना जैसे प्रेम आहे आपलं, no one cares in the social media. It's very easy to just do a thumbs up. And yet that has become more important to us than the parents who have said something good to us. Our perspective, our balance of, judgment has been skewed by the social media, by the bombarding of photographs and likes and loves and comments that you're having from everywhere. And that is why I keep on saying, young people are the ones who have to be the most careful about mental health, because you are being bombarded in every direction. So that is what you have to be.
So she has written quite a few novels, and she writes on murder mysteries. So, I, on your behalf, would like to ask her as to what instigates her to go into the mind of a person who's actually killing people, or rather, what instigates a person to go and become a Satan and give power to that satanic power rather than getting into the divine which is inside and cross all limits and do what is so unexpected of any normal human being. So, ma'am, can you please explain us as to
Yeah, of course, of course. See, evil is, you know, evil and good. They are just ranges of human existence. Okay, evil is at one end, but it's only at a one end. When you understand that to become good, you have to first go to the depth of evil. हमारे शास्त्रों में भी यही लिखा है, you know, कि like we accept all kinds of moralities as something. You have to explore everything in order to understand what is the final good. So when I write about murder mysteries, I write about complex human emotions. And okay, I'm like मैं थोड़ा सा ज़रा ये कर रही हूँ. I'm just, but like I would like to discuss maybe after, not right now, maybe after 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I want to know more from you people also about the Shraddha murder case, because that has kind of a like, it has shocked me. It is still shocking me, and I want to explore the psychology of the victim, like he said about murderer, the mind of the murderer. But here we have the psychology of the victim also, which is like unbelievable. So that I would like to talk more about.
Well, we'll certainly come back to it. I will request Dr. Harshali to tell us about what she feels about mental health. And she has written a wonderful book, or rather a series of books, The Haveli. And I would really like to ask, what is the mental health concern with Haveli?
Can you hear me? Yeah. So my books are called the Haveli series. It's a series of 9 books, out of which 3 books are out. I think the profile that she read was a little old. So the new book that I've written is Paradox of Dreams. This book is, so first a little bit of context about the Haveli series, as you asked. Haveli series is primarily about this old Haveli which is there in Old Delhi. It's called the Haveli of the 100 Doors. And इस हवेली में एक शर्मा फैमिली रहती है जिनके 7 children हैं. So every book is the story of one child. So mental health is a very core prominent aspect of this series, primarily because all the protagonists, the female protagonist or the male protagonist, are dealing with their own demons. They're dealing and struggling with, जैसे मैंने थोड़ी देर पहले बोला था, that हमारे सबकी लाइफ में एक वो existential crisis होता है जिसको हम पूरी जिंदगी सॉर्ट करते रहते हैं. And we are sometimes able to find the strength to do that, and sometimes it takes longer. So when I write from that angle, that जो existential crisis in सब बच्चों के, obviously they're adults, so in सब की life में है, what is it about? For example, in the first book, which is called The Window to Her Dreams, I talk about mature love, I talk about domestic violence, I talk about how women are conditioned to behave in the, have this role of a best daughter-in-law. And these conditional roles are there already for you. Like a mold is set. कि अगर आप best daughter हो या अच्छे daughter हो या daughter-in-law या wife, then you have to be like this. So
Doctor,
this girl,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but that doesn't hold good now.
Yeah, so that's what I was coming
because
to.
Because the roles have reversed. The boys are already started taking classes for savories and cookery. And they also go in for so many other home jobs.
So if I would finish this, what I was saying, we are talking about metropolitan cities where where parents of our generation are teaching their boys to be able to, break down these gender roles. However, if we step out of the metro cities and go slightly further away, we'll realize that the situation is not such. We are still very much in that time where gender roles were defined, that women need to do this and men need to do this. So what I was coming to was that this girl who has been conditioned to be in a certain way finds that even after doing all that, she does not have a happy marriage, and then she finds the strength within herself to overcome her struggles. So that is the book. What is the book about? The second book is about, and of course her partner that she marries, the second person, he is supportive of her and how he's supporting her. The second book is about accepting consequences of the choices we make. So again, a very important mental health issue is dealt in the second book called Anatomy of Choice, wherein this second daughter takes a decision which is not acceptable in polite society, and then she has to deal with those consequences because every action has a reaction. So how she finds the wherewithal to be able to say that, okay, this is what I want to do and how I'm going to reach my goal. And the topic that I wanted to discuss in that book was, are struggles of women similar since time immemorial? Are we still struggling for love and ambition? Are we still deciding what is more important to us? So these were the things I wanted to talk about in the second book. Let me just take another minute.
No, the moment you talk, I get a link for doctor because he has written so many things linked to that.
Yeah. So, and the third book that has been released recently, it's called A Paradox of Dreams, is about the third daughter who's blind, but who's also an empath. So she has her own struggles. She is going through the feeling that I am not enough. She's solving crime. She's blind. She's still solving crime. So everybody else thinks she's, wow, kitna, she's done so much in her life. But she feels that I am not enough. So every book, I think, or everything we look at, as Dr. Parikh was very rightly saying, that we get bombarded with so much information that we keep thinking, are we good enough? And especially for women like me who are in the space where, which is the male bastion. Judiciary is mainly the male bastion. We still don't have women in the right, in the right or the policy making positions in numbers that we want. You keep feeling that, do I deserve to be here? So there are women who are very good achievers. They are sitting at policy making positions. You're sitting on the dais, but there are times where you feel, you get that imposter syndrome. Ki, main theek kar rahi hu na. The second thing is that sometimes you have to prove yourself doubly hard so that nobody can raise a finger at you. Now, I'll give you a small example that, when I had just joined, I saw this group of girls came after a few months and they were just sitting on the side, and pura time from morning till afternoon, they were just sitting and watching, silently sitting on one side and watching, and the whole courtroom was full of litigants and senior lawyers and everybody. So after, when we were just going for lunch, they were standing outside. I said, why? You didn't appear before me. You didn't come out and, you didn't talk about any case. So they said, no, we just came to see you. So I said, why would you come and see me? So they said, no, we wanted to see how a woman, because there were young interns who, जैसे आप internship करते हो law firms में, so they wanted to see how a female judge who's sitting and who's giving a judgment, how she's interacting with the crowd. And that, it was like a complete switch on for me, because you realize that you are holding the door for the next generation. So you cannot go wrong, right? So as a woman, you are doubly careful and cautious, and you have to be, that you don't do anything which will then set a precedence for the younger generation which is looking at you as a role model. As parents, right? As parents also, we need to be equally careful how we are treating the women of the house, how we are talking to people around us, the grandparents, the parents. क्योंकि आपके बच्चे आपको देख रहे हैं, वो साइलेंटली आपको देख रहे हैं कि हाउ यू आर ट्रीटिंग द वुमेन, हाउ यू आर ट्रीटिंग द एल्डरली, एंड दे आर गोइंग टू एम्यूलेट यू. So as role models, I think it is our duty to be careful, because eventually you are affecting them, you are impacting their mental health just by doing what you are doing. So that.
Good afternoon, sir and ma'am. Sir, actually, I had a question that nowadays the youth, the mental health of the youth is really affecting by the external environments, by the actions and reactions of the other. What do the other people think or talk behind me in my back, or what how do they judge me? Or if one day some friend came and he told you I was talking to someone and he was telling me he told me that about you, that you are. So how to keep unaffected your mental about all this external environment, ma'am?
Whom do you want to answer?
Anyone.
Anyone. Who would like to take this question as to external things affect you?
आपके लिए important क्या है? What is who's a really important person in your life, who really loves you, or which are the most important goals in your life? All I'll say is, in case he hasn't heard me, कि you have to find your own balance, कि आपके लिए important क्या है, क्या नहीं है, ये आपको ही decide करना है, and it is not going to be easy for you. अभी आप कैसे करोगे ये आप फाइंड आउट करो. ऐसे डॉक्टर ने कहा था कि आप यू फाइंड आउट अबाउट द सोशल मीडिया कि व्हाट इज इट रियल, इज इट इंफॉर्मेशन जो आपको आ रही है वो सही है क्या. दिस पर्सन हु सेज हु कीप्स ऑन लाइकिंग योर दिस थिंग, डज ही रियली गिव अ डैम फॉर यू? इफ ही डजंट, why should you bother so much? At some point you have to get your mind across from social media and get into really important things and goals and purpose in life.
Which man will you need to say? Harshali ma'am? Yes, Harshali, would you like to take?
See, I think everything is interrelated. I don't think, I think Dr. Parikh would be able to give us a better, a more intrinsic kind of an answer. But from my point of view, I think everything is interrelated. I don't think there can be anything to the exclusion of anything. तो अगर आपको कोई भी मेंटल इलनेस है, या आप you're going through stress, depression, so there's so many kinds, right? Mental illness can be of so many kinds. And is it related or associated to your character? Is it related or associated to the surroundings or the conditions that are around you? Certainly. I don't think it can be to the exclusion of that, right? Would you like to?
Hello, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. My question would be to the psychiatrist, Dr. Samir, sir. Yes. Sir, the title of the today's topic rightly suits to me and most of us, that really the mental health is a mystery or a shadow for us. Like, how and when would we know that we are affected by the mental health? My first question. And the second would be, are there any factors, like, can we segregate them in low, moderate and critical, that these factors would be serious to our health and we are in the need of a mental health expert? When do we come to know about that, sir?
So I'll try and just give you an umbrella for you to understand. How would you, so forget the names of illnesses and severity, it doesn't matter, leave it to the experts. Let's look at it from a vantage point that how would I know if somebody around me or me are going through a mental health concern. If you feel there is a change happening, change which is consistent, let's say for about 2 weeks or so, bare minimum. Change which can be in emotion, sadness, anger, irritable, thoughts which are different than what they were, social, which is either becoming withdrawn or becoming aggressive, performance, which is either academics or work, health, which is either sleep or appetite, or feeling about myself, psychology. If any of these things have consistently happened and they are causing an impairment of functionality of life, social, occupational, personal functioning, if that is happening, probably this could be a mental ailment. You should go and talk to a general physician, your family physician. They are competent enough to guide you for the way forward. Everybody doesn't need to go straight away to a psychiatrist. There aren't enough psychiatrists in our country or for that matter in the world. I absolutely don't see self-help books as a reflection of anything related to the sheer gamut of the problem mental ailments and mental health is. Like I said at the start, 1 in 6 years lived in disability across the world are because of mental health. If you put mental illnesses in one category and you put in the other category illnesses like cancer, right? you will realize that the problem that is because of mental health is skewed towards mental health. So, in fact, the problem of mental health is not that it's a good enough market. The problem is it is not a good enough market. So, for healthcare providers, mental health doesn't seem to be the kind of market that would want them to pump funding into it. Whether it is the agencies in terms of insurance, which has just about started, which should have happened 20 years back. But insurance has now happened, just about what, 2 months back. And that too, probably all of us may not be aware whether your policies are giving that or not. The problem is it has never been seen as a market enough. And self-help books just took away, like faith healers had taken at some time a solution. Self-help books will be good enough guidance. I've written a few self-help books. I mean, for me to say that a self-help book is a prescription for something like an illness, that's absolutely not scientific. Mental illness needs to be seen in the same light and science as any other health concern is. You define health: physical, social, emotional, mental. What does that mean? 3 out of 4 segments are mental health. That's the reality.